coming off of another video recommendation from Keemstar. He said he had like some kind of controversy with Nick Fuentes. He kept calling him Nick Flutes or Flutes. I've noticed a pattern with Keemstar where if he's trying to disrespect somebody, he just constantly says their name incorrectly. He did it to me like at one time, the last time that he said the name Papa Gut. He actually said it Papa Gut instead of Papa Gump through the whole thing. I think that's a tactic that he shares with Def Noodles and trying to agitate somebody by like throwing out kind of like childish insults. That's what it is. It's like, oh, I'm gonna say your name wrong. It's like a childish insult, or like, oh, you're an incel. I personally don't care. I think it's kind of stupid and funny. But I know, I guess other people do care, and so that's like the whole motivation for that. But anyway, he talked about it, he referenced it, so let's give it a watch. Let's give it a watch.
I'd like to remind everyone.
Oh yeah, it's called Twitter versus Nicholas Fuentes and Keemstar. Bowblax.
That I do not condone nor endorse anybody who I talk about on Twitter versus. And this is especially important to point out as today we are talking about extreme conservative Nicholas J. Fuentes. He is so right-wing in fact.
Host of America First, Zoomer, Afro-Latino, campus, conservative, Catholic. Fantastic.
That one of his friends, Baked Alaska, helped storm the U.S. Capitol. The FBI asked for info on anyone who helped in the riots, and Keemstar quote tweeted them to say, "Dear FBI, one of the people inside the Capitol yesterday is Baked Alaska. He's a banned YouTube streamer who fights on the streets, and as soon as punches are about to be thrown, he maces people and runs away like a pussy. And to all the people calling me a snitch, Baked Alaska literally live streamed himself in the Capitol building. He snitched on himself. And before yesterday, he's built a career on attacking innocent people with mace. Literally F this guy, and F all of."
I mean, I agree with that. I mean, you know, I agree with what he's saying. If the characterizations are true from Keemstar, because, you know, I don't know. I just don't know. I can't really take his word on face value. It's not like he's the most, not like he's the most reputable individual. You know what I'm saying? So, okay.
Of his fans. Nicholas J. Fuentes quote tweets Keem and says, "You are scum, dude. I cannot wait until they ban your YouTube channel and destroy your platform, you fucking slave. Enjoy your 30 pieces of silver." Keemstar quote tweets him and says, "Laughing my fucking ass off. I'm gonna enjoy freedom when your bitch-ass friend that maces innocent people in the streets gets locked up. I'ma laugh at your ass. You should probably take your anger to a speech therapy class because I seen a speech of yours. You were stuttering non-stop." Nicholas quote tweets him and says, "You don't have freedom. You are a butt-boy slave for Susan Wojcicki. Your far more courageous friends like Leafy and others get banned while you obediently straddle the line like a good..."
Didn't Keemstar get banned like 5 times? Like, isn't Keemstar technically banned? He doesn't even own his own channel. I'm just saying. I feel like this isn't true. But okay.
Little dog making meaningless drama content. Here's a drama alert. You're a fucking loser.
But that doesn't. So the thing that doesn't make sense is like Leafy made meaningless drama content. And listen, I'm not saying that I don't, right? You know, but so how are you gonna like jerk Leafy off in one breath and then how are you gonna jerk him off in one breath and then like criticize the entire content format that he makes? It's bizarre. Unless I guess maybe Nick thinks that owning the liberal weirdos is meaningful content, I suppose. Okay.
Keemstar then ats Nick directly and says, "And if you think for any minute that you are scary or intimidating, you are a fucking clown. A straight up red-nosed motherfucking clown." To which Nick responds
So
with
weird.
the Joker. Keem then tweets out, "Nick, your extremism will result in you losing all your freedom. Lindsey Graham just said on CSAPN that you and Baked Alaska are getting arrested. You are afraid of accepting defeat because the extremist following you have will turn on you. Don't be a coward! Except you lost." Deleted the tweet because Nick claims he was never in the Capitol building. And in my tweet I suggest he was based on the other reports I saw. I don't know if he was or wasn't, but I know
there goes Keemstar reporting on information that he doesn't know. Fucking Keem, come on, bro.
Alaska was, and he's fucked. Biden is our president. Accept it.
I see a lot of people calling me a grifter or whatever the fucking term is, right?
Okay.
It's no secret that I supported Trump. I endorsed him in 2014 to the point where the president himself like retweeted me.
Whoa, big moment.
And I voted
Movie
for him in
star.
2016. And in the 4 years that Trump was president, he did a lot of good for America. And I fully
Well, that I disagree with Keemstar. I think we briefly talked about this in our conversation where you're like, he was really good for the economy. And I was like, yeah, from a short-term perspective, but like we couldn't afford. So like, okay, he did well for the economy. He raised the GDP growth to like what, 4.5%, I think at most, which is great. But it was at the cost of massive tax cuts, primarily for the rich people, permanently for rich, temporary for middle class and poor people. That like increased our like annual federal deficit by like $400 billion. So for people who don't know what an annual federal deficit is, it's just the amount of money we spend over the amount of money we take in, where the annual debt is a collection of all that. Very simple stuff. And so, you know, he raised that in order to make up for that. We would have had to have like a consistent GDP growth of like 6.7%, which was never plausible. So it might have been good for the economy, but it's never sustainable. So it doesn't make it good. It doesn't make it a good thing. At all. In his defense, at least he did something, you know, because I know a lot of people were like, hey, I'm going to lose my job. What the fuck can you do? And then Killer's like, hey, fuck you, coal miners, you know, and I get it. You know, people wanted to just try to like keep their jobs. I get it. But it wasn't good. He didn't, it wasn't a good thing. Like, I just letting you guys know that.
I really believe that. And I know me just saying that right now makes so many people seeing this hate me, hate my guts.
Where you going, bro?
But not every average American is taking time to pay attention to what lawmakers and what the president is doing. Most people get their information from the media, and the media has been running a fucking negative propaganda thing against Trump this whole entire fucking time.
That's probably true. I mean, the whole Russian collusion thing was kind of stupid. So there, like, I think what came out of it was that at one point Trump admitted that he talked to like a Kremlin lawyer about opposition research for Hillary Clinton, and that's technically I think that's legal. So it's like whatever. Is it just immoral? Probably. But what happened is that they got this guy. I forget what his name is. Like fucking whoever the investigator was. I just forget his name. I know his name. I don't know what I can't remember it. And you know, the progressive media did like a really good job of it originally. They were just like, yeah, this guy, he's you know, this guy's a little sussy. Oh, no, excuse me. That's not what they said. I just had like a brain fart. They're like, okay, this guy's good. He's really respectable. James Mueller. Am I getting the name right? Great. And then after that, they ran like a 2-year campaign of Russian collusion saying that this is real. There's a bombshell. And then what happened? There was no Russian collusion. And they looked like fucking idiots. And they assassinated their credibility because they were sensationalizing a story just for... Fuck, I'm stunned as fucked. This asshole's not going to... Is he stunned up too? No, he's just a fucking moron. And they like assassinated their credibility because there was no collusion. You know what I mean? And like that's the problem when they run like a narrative like that. So it was really toxic. It destroyed the credibility of a lot of progressive media, and people have not forgotten about it. So you know that's what happens when you lie.
And they lied to us about the Russian collusion bullshit.
You know?
And that's just fact.
And facts don't care about your feelings, right?
But in 2016, when Trump won, people on the left were tweeting out, Trump's not my president, not my president. And they got clowned on for that. They should have got clowned on for that. But now this whole thing with Trump versus Biden has...
You know, in all honesty, if Trump was still president, I'd probably be a lot more popular now. I'm just being honest with you. The reason is because, like, after Trump lost, politics were so easy to talk about. Because they're interesting back during Trump. You know, that's the one thing. I didn't vote for Trump, even though I was like, it's in my best interest if he stays president. Because I knew. I already knew. I fucking knew. And then he was elected. And then, like, I lost interest in politics. I think a lot of people did. My audience did. I did, too. It just wasn't interesting. That's when my TikTok blew up, because I started focusing more on, like, fucking twerking and making jokes. What the fuck was I saying? Yeah. But it's really interesting. And so, like, that obviously I had, like, a bit of a lull in my content for a bit because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had to rebrand, and, like, I've been, like, working up from there. So, you know, it's all about those ebbs and flows in content.
Has been exhausted through the courts. I've listened to 16 hours of hearings, and yeah, I believe there was evidence of voter fraud. Was there proof? I wouldn't say hardcore proof, but definitely evidence. But this thing has been exhausted through the courts. You got to accept what the courts are saying. You know, we're a country of rules.
It goes on both sides. I think there was also a thing in California where Republicans were trying to set up fake mailboxes or something, or deposits areas for people to vote when they voted by mail to reduce votes. Some shit like that. It's happening on both sides. You know what I mean? There's shit going on. That's just kind of how it is. That's not ideal, but that's just how it is. I can understand people's apprehension, though, about, like, mail-in voting and voting online and stuff like that. I don't think you could vote online, but maybe I'm wrong. Because you don't, like, I feel like it's more rife with tampering, you know? Bro, are you kidding me right now? You fucking smelly balls.
Laws. You know, it's the same thing like 2016.
Oh,
People are not accepting the results. It's done. It's over with.
Big.
Biden is the president.
Okay. This is all just to criticize.
Results.
This is all just to criticize.
Because the only thing left is violence. That is the only thing left, and that is not good for America.
Very true, Keem. Thank you.
Joe Biden is my president, and I hope.
Except for violence online, like that's okay, right? I think that's okay. No violence against James Charles. Don't talk about his loose butthole.
And pray that Joe Biden does good for America. Saying that he's not president is un-American at this point.
Well,
this thing has went through the ringer and back. It's done.
Keemstar continues tweeting when he says, "Earlier today I was fighting with a right-wing extremist that was defending his friend who stormed the Capitol. Now Trump himself is saying they commit crimes and should be brought to justice. Keemstar wins again." He then quote tweets Donald Trump addressing this and says, "Damn, Nick Fuentes, that's a big L for you." Gen Z Groiper 2021 responds to Keem by saying, "Nick isn't the guy you want to mess with, bro." Keemstar responds, "Or what? Let me explain in detail absolutely fucking nothing." He then tweets out, "Nick Fuentes, get owned by Trump himself."
Just so we're on the same page. Earlier today, the FBI...
It's like weird that like I don't know why is he going in so hard on this. It's interesting. How does Keem have the time to have Twitter beef with people? I don't understand it. Like I don't get it. It's weird. Like even we had like a weird beef for a minute because I think I made a joke. He's like, I don't know what content to make, and then I said, well, why don't you just cancel a 19-year-old for sexting a 17-year-old, and then we had like a whole thing. And I was on vacation. It was nighttime, so I had the time. But it's like, why the fuck are you constantly doing that? I thought that after that, I was like, this is so cringe. I don't want to have Twitter beef anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's just cringe. It was stupid. I just don't understand, bro. I just don't get it.
FBI says that they are looking for the identity of the people that stormed the Capitol building yesterday. So I remembered I saw Baked Alaska, an in real life YouTube streamer. He's banned now. But basically, this in real life streamer would start fights with innocent people on the street. And as soon as they want to defend themselves and fight back, Baked Alaska would mace them and run away like a bitch. So I don't like Baked Alaska. Have no respect for him. And he was one of the people that stormed the Capitol building yesterday. And he live streamed the whole thing on D Live. Him going into the Capitol building and him in Pelosi's office on her telephone saying that he was calling Trump. So when I saw this tweet from the FBI, I responded by saying Baked Alaska was one of the people in the Capitol building. And that's when Baked Alaska's good friend, Nick Fuentes, or whatever the fuck his name is.
That's what we call him, Nick Fuentes.
Responds back to me that, I can't remember exactly what he said, but he basically said that I was like a slave to YouTube. I was a slave to Susan Wojcicki, that I didn't have balls like Leafy to get myself banned, talking all this types of fucking nonsense. And if you go to the guy's fucking page, he's literally supporting people storming the Capitol. All right. He thinks, the government's being overthrown by the Democrats, and he doesn't respect the courts or nothing. He thinks Donald Trump won the election. He's an extremist person. But now we have Trump. We have Trump coming out and saying that the people that stormed the Capitol building yesterday are fucking criminals that need to be brought to justice. We got Trump himself saying that the people that stormed the Capitol building aren't American. Very anti-American. That's not what we stand for. Oh my God. Look at you out there fighting a fucking war. Your buddies are storming the Capitol. You're talking all this shit on Twitter when Trump himself, your fucking leader, it doesn't agree with you. It's fucking hilarious. Big fucking L on your head. This is the problem with extremists.
Why is he wearing a fucking McDonald's hat? Do you think they paid him for that?
You do extreme shit and you fuck up, dummy.
Nuka Troopa quote tweets Keem and says, "Nick living rent-free in his head." Keemstar.
Do you think that he was also did the NFL support him? No, why? Who just has a McDonald's hat? That's weird. I don't understand.
Responds, "What are you, 12? More tears, more tears." Nicholas quote tweets Trump and says, "People were willing to die for this man and he just threw them all under the bus. That's the only thing that's shameful about the events of the past 38 hours. I'm sure the usual suspects suggested that this was a good idea. I hope Trump reverses course, for our sake." Keemstar responds, "Cry more." Coey responds, "Rent-free," to which Keemstar responds, "Rent-free is all you got, that and a pile of L's." Kansas Zoomer quote tweets Keem and says, "You will cry for eternity when you were sent to hell." Keemstar responds, I never planned to go to heaven, motherfucker. He then tweets out, now all his followers are calling me Jewish. How is this even an insult? What kind of trailer park are you people even from? On top of it, these are extreme right Trump supporters. Trump's children marry Jewish people. This doesn't even remotely make sense. German-American Groiper then screenshots a lot of Keemstar's tweets and captions it by saying, this middle-aged man Keemstar who spends his time and career reporting on tween YouTube drama has spent all day subtweeting Nick Fuentes and snitching on Baked Alaska. He has no idea what he's getting himself into, and starting to cry foul already. What a loser. Keemstar spawns lol, cry more. Nicholas decided to respond to all of this on his podcast America First. Here is what he said.
Bad boys, Keemstar sucks. Yeah, Keemstar sucks. What an idiot. I thought that guy was cool. Whoops. Just knocked over my headset. I thought that guy was cool. He's a faggot, dude. I mean, really. He's tweeting today, oh, at FBI, Baked Alaska was in the Capitol.
Why can't you censor that word, bro? What the fuck? Holy shit. Oh, Lord.
And, you know, look, I know a lot of people don't like Baked Alaska, but you're really snitching on him to the federal government. So that was disgusting. You know, Keemstar presents himself as like, oh, I'm politically incorrect. You're a slave. You are a slave to the system. And
it's interesting because he is still politically incorrect, right? He's just not, like, he's not insane enough for Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is fucking insane. But okay. All right.
And people that are still playing this game, you know, he's like, look, Biden won. We have to get on with our lives. It's like, what are you doing? Look at yourself. What are you doing, you pathetic slave? You know, and that guy should know better than anybody.
Stupid.
He's on YouTube. How many of his friends have been censored by Susan Wojcicki? How many of his friends have had their livelihoods and their platforms destroyed unfairly by the same globalist regime, by Google? Google owns YouTube. Google, Alphabet, Alphabet 1 and Alphabet 2 are two of the biggest companies by market cap in the history of the world. That's who owns YouTube. That's who screwed over Keemstar's best friends. Google is, who do you think's funding all this stuff? Google works with the intelligence apparatus. They work with the national security apparatus. The reason they have so much power and money is because they do contracts for the federal government. And they sponsor all these lobbyists in Washington. They're so part of the globalist system. They constitute a massive part of it. And you're out there tattling the FBI, virtually part of that same blob machine. It's just gross. I mean, you have no dignity. You're nothing. You have no soul. You have no spirit. The guy talks about he's going to convert to Judaism and he's going to hell. Yeah, and that's about right, isn't it? And that's 100% exactly about right. Somebody said, you know, you're going to go to hell, dude. And he's like, I know, and I don't care. Yeah, well, people choose hell. So you have no dignity. You have no soul.
What the
you should
fuck?
be embarrassed. I mean, you're
What
just
are
like a
these
pathetic,
insults?
disgusting slave.
Oh, fuck.
Little piggy down on your hands and knees at the trough. Fill it up. You know, tell the fed globalist machine to fill it up for that muddy little piggy, that little dog, Keemstar, to eat out of it. Hope you enjoy. Hope you enjoy. Like I said on Twitter, hope you enjoy your 30 pieces.
Who enjoys this content? I don't understand. All he said was if you're Jewish, you're going to hell. How does that even make sense? Jewish people like believe in hell? No, I'm fucking wrong. There's no way I'm wrong on that. What the fuck?
This is Silver, you turncoat piece of shit. Keemstar, yeah, he's a real YouTuber. Yeah, keep talking about drama, making bread and circus. Drama alert, yeah. I said on Twitter, drama alert, you're a fucking loser. And it's true. And it's so true.
It's interesting that, like, he, from what he said, it seemed like he liked Keemstar at one point, for what he said, but now he doesn't like Keemstar, and part of it's because his content sucks. I don't really understand. Isn't that fucking weird? Like, why didn't his content suck when you didn't like him? I don't understand. Okay.
And it's so true, and I say it all the time, but it's true. We have to humiliate these people. These people have no dignity. That's the bottom line. I mean, you have to undermine their sense of self-worth. Like, you're not a man. I mean, you are a eunuch. They cut off your balls. You are a slave. You are owned. You are bought. They might as well put a big brand on your forehead. They might as well brand your forehead with the word slave. That's what you are. That's how we all see you. And you should be embarrassed. You should feel humiliated. You should feel ashamed. You're a disgrace. And no serious person should ever have anything to do with anybody that's a part of something like that. You know? Disgusting little dog. Give him a collar. Somebody send a collar to Keemstar's P.O. box that says, owned by YouTube, owned by Susan Wojcicki, a pathetic slave, tattling to the FBI. You know, yeah, Keemstar saying, LOL, Trump betrayed you, LOL, you're going to jail. Yeah, maybe I'll go to jail, but I'm never going to suck dick for YouTube like you. I know that's vulgar. I apologize. A lot of explicit language on this show, but understandably I'm upset, and that's what it is. I mean, that's what it is.
Why is it
understandable? It is
understandable?
vulgar. What's going on is vulgar, and it is disgusting. So that's the only way you can describe it. So, yeah. So, I'm happy to say that. I'll go away for a long time being me, defiantly, than I will before I get on my knees like Keemstar, so he can assuage the masses. No, I'm not going to offend anybody. Oh, I'm just a funny, silly guy. Yeah, you're a joke, dude. You're gonna be forgotten. You're gonna go to hell forever, and you'll be forgotten.
What the fuck is happening here, bro?
Keemstar, the court jester, the clown, and not a cool clown like a clown that dances on a cop car. like a clown that performs for Susan Wojcicki. Good.
Did he really have to make sure that he stated that the Joker is a cool clown, though? Like, he was like, yeah, he's a clown, except for the Joker that dances on cars from the movie Joker. Wow. That's fucking weird. It's fucking weird. He felt the need to defend the Joker in his criticisms.
For you. Anyway, so yeah, he sucks. I unfollowed him. I unfollowed a lot of people. I unfollowed Doug Mastriano. I unfollowed Keemstar.
Okay.
Anybody else? Maybe just those two. But yeah, he got totally humiliated. I owned him so hard, and he can't let it go. He's been tweeting at me all night because I owned him so hard, ratioed him to death. No, Nick, pay attention. Nah, I have no time for you. You lost. I won.
He kind of made a whole thing about it.
And that is about it for this drama. Again, I want to reiterate, I do not support Nick and his beliefs at all. He's completely outrageous in my opinion, but I did think the drama was entertaining, hence why I showed it here for you guys today. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe with notifications on. I'd also like to give a very special thanks to my channel members, in particular Scrubby, who decided to donate $100 a month. That is absolutely insane. Thank you so much, dude. But with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.
Well, okay. Well, interesting. Interesting stuff. Muy intradestado. Fuck. Okay, let me just finish this fight. Interesting shit. Yeah, I owned him so hard. I cummed so hard. I owned you so hard. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.